So today I'm just going to kind of jump right into the battles. So I actually have a couple sets here from Fantasy Cup. Trying to stay on my promise of posting at least once a week here on the channel. So I decided to run a team with Galarian Weezing as a lead. And in this first battle I do get a Stunfisk lead, which I was a little scared about how this would play out, but they didn't really shield this first move, so I decided to actually bring in my Haxorus just to tank a move if they decided to stay in or force switch them out. And they do end up throwing Earthquake. I tank it with Haxorus. In comes Azu, which ends up being kind of good because we can kind of throw a Breaking Swipe and then we're not really giving this Azu too much energy, allowing us to bring back in our Galarian Weezing. So my Galarian Weezing currently, I'm just spamming Sludge, which is a little tough still against Azu. Azu's really tanky and can still take some of these moves. But in comes my final Pokemon on the team, Steelwing Shadow Skarmory, which as you can see completely annihilated that Grand Bull there, wow. So in our second battle we get a Skarmory lead, and I guess I decided to stay in, and instead of baiting it again, I just go straight for the Overheat. I feel like you could absolutely, if you want to play a team like this, you could totally get away with baiting in a lot of these scenarios as long as you charge up to the Overheat, but I don't know, some people really play ballsy and they don't shield there, and that can reward us if we go aggressive with the move. In comes Turtonator, which I think it was actually kind of a tough Pokemon to deal with this line. Definitely Haxorus probably one of the better Pokemon to use against it just because it resists the fire moves. And yeah, in comes their Skarmory. I want to bring in my Haxorus here to go for a farm down. If they do throw the move, I'm just going to commit it because yeah, it's just probably better. We don't really know 100% at this moment. They do have Como-O in the back, which is actually not too shabby because we do get the attack drop, which allows us to get the shield, and then also we make a switch here into Weezing, which we catch the Dragon Claw. So they decided to just top left because we're in a pretty advantageous position at that point. This next battle, they lead Azumarill and switch in Turtonator. Yeah, I was kind of getting more adjusted to this format. This is actually the very first time I've ever played Fantasy Cup. And yeah, I probably should have insta-swapped into Haxorus here. And also the way I play this out, like I decided, oh, well, maybe I can go for a farm down on the Turtonator and preserve my energy. This really wasn't a good call overall because there's really no reason for me to preserve this energy for Azumarill, and especially in this situation, I'm starting to fish for attack drops. But it's not even really worth it because they can just switch out upon me bringing in Weezing anyways. So I think actually just throwing the Surf for more damage would have been more optimal in that position. But yeah, overall the way I played that was kind of dicey because we had a better matchup with our Haxorus into the Turtonator. Should have been threatening the Breaking Swipes and insta-swapped. But yeah, they end up just letting Flygon go here, I guess hoping to use Azumarill to sweep, which does kind of create a scenario where I could potentially still come back, because I think the Flygon might have been a little more scary there with 2 shields as the final, but I totally understand with Skarmory being a decent way to handle Flygon in this format, I suppose. They didn't want to risk playing that matchup out that way, but it's kind of crazy because we just barely lose this one. We even get it down to 1 HP-ish, it looks like, and they are able to reach that Ice Beam, so GG's to them, well played. So in this next match, we do get a Flygon lead, which I typically am going to just safe swap out here into Haxorus, because Skarmory is a little bit better to deal with Flygon, and even though we're behind energy, they end up switching out anyways here. They didn't want to like stay in, I guess, and potentially get attack drops. I'm not entirely sure, but they end up switching out into Skarmory. So we're going to throw Surfs here and just keep chipping away with counter damage into Skarm. And pretty much, yeah, from here, I'm going to probably bring in my own Skarmory and try to go for a farm down. I don't know why. I think I shield here. Honestly, even a Brave Bird isn't going to bring me down below half. So I mean, maybe at this point it does because of the HP loss, but it does around like a little under half damage, I think, typically. But yeah, it's okay. I mean, fortunately for us, we are able to actually live barely here on the Flygon, and we can just get the Sky Attack off. So that was kind of clutch. Pretty insane that we were able to just barely live that, especially being the Shadow variant. And they end up having a lone Sandslash here in the back line. And even though it is the Shadow variant and Drill Run's gonna hurt, we are able to just barely live, allowing us to connect our Overheat here. So that's super clutch as well. So looking really good here. We have one more battle in this set. So yeah, I've been playing pretty casual this season, but I figured this team was kind of, I tried a couple different things out, but this was feeling pretty good at the time when I was running this team. So in this match, I actually switch out directly to Haxorus, and they bring in a Registeel on me, which I'm okay with. I'm going to commit a shield. They do get the attack drop, but fortunately that doesn't prevent me from getting a farm down here. And Ferrothorn coming back in, which was the lead, I can just kind of spam breaking swipes. And I'm pretty much just trying to fish for attack drops, just to help create a better scenario for me. Maybe tries, maybe kind of forcing them to switch out Ferrothorn if they really want to do damage with it. So yeah, they go for Thunder here, which I wasn't really sure why, actually. I mean, I think Power Whip is the play. But yeah, that ends up hurting them a bit, and I do connect an attack drop here on Escavalier. So that's great, because this is going to be stuck in with me for a little bit here. And Skarmory, even though I wasn't going to shield regardless, but yeah, that ended up being Acid Spray. So I think I end up shielding this one. Oh no, I just let it go because I'm like, I can probably still live the Drill Run. And it doesn't really matter because between Haxorus and Weezing, I can still pull it off, just barely. Crazy enough, like Haxorus is able to just farm down because they end up trying to catch a move. I'm not entirely sure actually. Maybe they thought they could farm me down. But yeah, Haxorus just ends up like pretty much punishing them pretty hard there. So that's a 4-1 set with this team, and I have one more set for this video. All right, so yeah, I actually tried a couple. I might make one more video. I started using a completely different team, just for variety, to think about like what I could share here on the channel. But yeah, this is not like too spicy, honestly. This team's pretty standard, I'd almost say. Kind of interesting format. I've never played this format, so it took me a little bit of time to really understand what I had to do properly. I mean, like every format like this, energy preservation and knowing your win cons and switches and pretty much just having energy gain, like being good at preserving your energy and also calling like bait moves and switch, like catching moves. That will go a long way in these type of formats. Sorry, that took so, well, I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. I mean, maybe it's because I made my coffee here, but I've actually not even had any yet.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
But anyways, yeah, so we get smacked by the Hydro there. A little risky on my end, but I guess I thought like, oh, maybe I could like farm down with Haxorus, but that was not looking possible. And I guess they thought they could farm me down. Yeah, so I ended up like just throwing the sludge, which actually like took us out of a really bad scenario. That was looking really bleak. We get Tapu Fini lead, which is pretty solid for us. They end up bringing in Polion, which we're going to switch in Haxorus. This is a really good matchup. We can resist the waterfall damage. This still does a lot though, which is kind of nuts. But in comes Tapu Fini, and I'm just going to throw a Surf first just to get a little bit more chip damage off. And yeah, I think I just go for double Surf, and that brings Tapu Fini below half health with counter damage. So that's super nice to see, and yeah, we just can lose alignment there. It doesn't really matter. We pretty much already had alignment. They end up having Skarmory here in the back, and honestly, I could have probably like gone for, I mean, that worked out perfectly actually. I was gonna say maybe I should go for Brave Bird here, but yeah, honestly worked out pretty good. We probably don't actually want to lower our defense, knowing that Steel Wing is absolutely gonna wreck our Weezing here. So yeah, this got kind of scary because it got down to the wire, and I think I was 1 HP from dying, so they were trying to farm me down. so they can have the energy for Weezing. But yeah, we got so lucky that we just barely got to that sky attack, because that was literally, I was one attack from going down. In comes Mawile. So the Mawile matchup, I feel like it's better because they're running Fire Fang, it seems. It's better to stay in here. I wasn't, I mean, I should have known that was Power Up Punch. I mean, that was just such a bad move, the shield there. I ended up safe swapping out into Haxorus, which I'm not entirely sure if I really need to do this, especially with how I played the bait with the sludge. Yeah, I feel like maybe not the best decision on my end to do this, because fishing for these attack drops aren't really that beneficial, because by the time timer's up, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is we probably could have stayed in and went for an overheat and got both shields on Mawile turn 1, and probably even just let Weezing to go, and then brought in Haxorus in on Mawile, and then we could have switched into our Skarmory in on their Azu if they decided to bring that in there. I mean, they end up having Dedenne in the back, so it's kind of interesting, I suppose, because even though it's Dedenne, we still can actually kind of do some damage with Skarmory. I was actually thinking maybe I should have not gone for the Brave Bird right away here, and potentially, like, I think I needed to take the discharge on Weezing to be, I don't know if I would have lived though. I was thinking about this after the fact. I was like, I think I needed to take the discharge, and maybe I could have just barely beaten Azu, or just, I might have died to bubble damage at that point. I wasn't really sure. But yeah, nicely played for sure. So we get a Scavular lead, excuse me, a Scavular lead. I just woke up. It's like 6 a.m. here. I've been so busy lately. I'm just trying to, yeah, I've been putting this off. Like, I had in my mind that I wanted to do more battles, but I just started doing my battles yesterday for this format. So, yeah, I don't know when this video will go up, but it's early here, is what I'm trying to say. Empoleon actually straight up wrecking me right here. But I can, like, barely get in here with Haxorus, but I'm gonna have to shield because I don't want to get hit by that drill peck. Thankfully, we had 2 shields left, and I think it's not the worst case scenario because I'm gonna go for the Surf, and I think they end up not shielding at all here, which is really beneficial. They end up having Flygon on the back. Problem is, they can play this out correctly. Like, they end up, yeah. I was trying to catch a move, but realistically, they could have, you know, under-tapped and then farmed and still had the energy. So I don't think I really had a great opportunity to bring that match back, honestly. Flygon's really good in this format, especially with energy. If you're like, if you get that energy lead and you get shields down and you just have like the right matchup, Flygon's really threatening. Another Escavalier, and kind of decided to stay in and play this out a little bit. I end up getting both shields with the bait and nuke. I mean, I guess I could have risked going for double bait there to be spicy, but not necessary, I guess. They end up throwing acids for hay, which is a little insulting. And then they also throw the play rough here, which doesn't feel that great, but I'm thinking that I can actually just barely farm this Azu. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Like, I was like, I could obviously have thrown Sky Attack and flipped this, but I guess logically I was thinking, well, maybe I could just preserve the energy and nuke something. Ends up not mattering too much because getting a little bit of energy lead on a Haxorus proves to be very advantageous in this situation. We are, because of the earlier shenanigans, we are actually able to outpace a Escavalier, and I can just throw this overheat and yeah, just barely pull off the victory here. So yeah, a 3-2 set, definitely tough battles out here. Everyone's getting so good at this game, wow. Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for all your support here on the channel. I'm trying my best to keep up with everything here in the Go Battle League. I know it's Go Battle weekend happening this weekend. Annihilate, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is making its debut, which is pretty exciting. If they don't, I don't know if people already know the moveset or not, but yeah, it's kind of exciting to see this happen. I'm going to be working all weekend. I might find some time to do a live stream and do some battles on the channel. But other than that, good luck with your battles this weekend. And the Sass Squad is getting stronger each and every day. Good morning, evening, afternoon, whenever you're tuning in. And I'll catch you in the next one.